Extreme Demons are often the most hyped up levels in Geometry Dash. When new ones pop up, people often take notice. Over the years, there's been many examples that have gotten attention throughout their creation and verification process, and gotten onto the servers. But that's not the case for all of them. Some Extreme Demons have completely fallen off during production, never to come out. These are the failed Extreme Demons. Eternal Night by Electro was once set to be one of, if not the hardest upcoming top ones in the game. It started being built during the Tartarus and the Golden Era, and its verifier Swyborg was making it 3 times as hard as those. As you'd expect, the hype for this grew immensely. The level had an aura about it that drew people in. It was menacing, yet not trying as hard to achieve that feel as a typical Hell level. Despite all the hype, it never really went anywhere as far as a verification went. Swyborg was already spread thin with a Nemesis and Skele's Deimos, which left him with little time for Eternal Night. This caused it to go on the back burner for a couple of years until it ended up with Cursed. Cursed was fresh off the back of verifying AOD and wanted a new challenge, and he got one of his favorite levels. While he was able to get runs like 76 to 100 and 63 to 95, his time as verifier was short-lived. Electro felt bad for Swyborg and returned the level to him. But by this point, another problem would pop up. The level's decoration was aging by the day and falling below the standard it reached for 2020. A redeco by Ghost Vandolph and more would begin being worked on, but seemingly ceased after only one segment got revamped. Eventually, the final nail in the coffin would come when Swyborg announced that Electro was unhappy with the level and intended to remake the entire thing from the ground up. Eternal Night as we knew it will never see the light of day. It remains to be seen if this revamp will ever begin to be made either. Caliber is the 3rd level in the Zafkiel series, being a collab between the decorators of the first 2 levels, Zephyrox and Darwin. Kulkian was also a part of the project, making a brand new song specifically for the level. With 2 of the best glow design creators ever, and official backing from the song artist, there was no way this level could fail. The decoration we saw in the first and only preview was immaculate for 2020 standards, and would still be seen as great decoration if built now. It even had callbacks to Zafkiel and Catalyze right before the drop to tie it all together for the finale. Everyone who saw it was excited, but from then on, all activity with the level just stopped. Last month, when asked about the level, Darwin stated it was cancelled and to stop asking about it. Definitely a disappointing end for a level with great potential, but ultimately the creator's wishes should be respected. Sergei Ester's Freedom Dive was a very innovative extreme for the time. While beating levels with 2-player gameplay solo may be more common now, this level sought to make that a thing all the way back in 2016. As you'd expect from a Giester layout, the sync was on point and it was super satisfying to watch. With the right decoration, this could have ended up as an extremely iconic level, especially since it was set to use the entire song. As Euler and Nobbleboy were the decorators of choice, which would have made for an interesting combo. Unfortunately, much like Caliber, it too was cancelled. And unlike Giester's other old cancelled Extreme 211, it never got an official revival and remains dead to this day. But all hope isn't completely lost. With Giester still around, this level could end up seeing an official version finished someday. On the topic of innovative levels, Subculture by Stormfly and Xander brought an interesting swing toggle gimmick to the table. Both of these creators are masters of creating unconventional gameplay, and that was exactly what Subculture was. On the decoration side of things, it was going to have a city theme, much like Knight Rider. The level even was supposed to have a full-on story, with the previews having cryptic segments meant to tease it. It's a shame nothing has been seen from it in the last 3 years. If it were to come out now, it'd still hold up off the back of its ideas and vision that hasn't been done by anything else. Maybe down the line it'll get revived and finally make it to the servers as a completed level. Fusion Z by Manix and More was at one point in time one of the most high-profile upcoming levels in the game. It had a lot going for it, with a massive stacked lineup of creators like Manix, Nobbleboy, Viperin, and Laserblitz, just to name a few. The scope of the level was absurd for 2.0, but as time went on, the level had terribly bad luck. It went through verifier after verifier and nobody managed to stick with the level. Eventually Manix decided to kill it, but Nobbleboy thought that'd waste the effort of all the creators, so they fought over the rights to it. A compromise ended up being made where Nob could host a version of it, but any of the creators could decline to let their parts be used. Eventually, he filled the gaps and got it out as Molten Gear. Many of the original creators followed Mannix's lead and withdrew their parts, so it's largely a different level to what Fusion Z once was. Mannix would also end up releasing a version of Fusion Z down the line, but it was a completely new one from the ground up in 1.9 style, which was a far cry from the original 2.0 level, with all the boss fights and other newer features. The old version itself got hack verified by Exin, and then finally verified legit by Bgram. Fusion Z's development cycle is a disaster the likes of which we'll probably never see again. Catharsis is one of the most famous unrated extreme demons in the 2010s, being directly compared to Woodkid in its scale and intensity. While it may be long forgotten, it's not what we're talking about right now. Rather, we're looking at its planned sequel, Salvation. Salvation was set to take the space theme to new heights for the time. While realistic deco is commonplace nowadays, Salvation could have been one of the early levels to dip its toes into that style. It had creators you may recognize today like Ryunomi and Kulak, who are two of the best to ever do the art style. With this being started long before Kulak became a household name in the community, it very well could have been his big break long before his downbase incarnate part, had things gone better for the level. With Dorami set as verifier, Salvation could have become immensely popular had it gotten finished and verified. As recently as 2023, there were still new parts being made for it, but since then it's gone completely quiet. It's not clear whether Salvation will ever see the light of day, and that's a shame. Especially with some reworking of the old parts, it still has the potential to be a very well-liked and popular extreme demon. The AP team's first ever completed project, Hopeless, has still yet to release, despite it having been almost 5 years since it was finished. It's a remake of Nobbleboy's first attempt to make a demon from 1.9, and Nob was set to be the one and only person who could verify it, as it was his project too. He hack verified the original version back in the day, so it was only right for him to be able to get redemption on a new and improved Hopeless. Unfortunately for Hopeless though, life would end up catching up to Nobbleboy and he had no time to play GD with university and the workload it demands. With 5 years passing by, the deco is once again outdated and likely would have to get a second revamp to meet modern standards. It just seems like time has passed Hopeless by and it'll remain a relic of the past. With the personal connection between Nobbleboy and Hopeless, it may genuinely be better off dead than verified by someone else. While things may seem done for all of these levels, it may not be completely over. We've seen similarly dead levels rise from the ashes before, like 211, Low Death, and Death Wish to name a couple of them. It still could be possible for some of these to get saved and released, but all we can do is wait and see what happens in the future.